I would like to begin to summarize the discussions that we've been having in terms of John Wesley's economics. We think, of course, of the important sermon, the use of money, and also the dangers of riches. In terms of the use of money, you know already the three maxims that Wesley offers in that sermon. The first, of course, is to gain all you can. The second is save all you can. And the third is give all you can. Now, these three maxims are actually quite interesting because they show that Christianity has within it the seeds of its own destruction. And Methodism has within it the seeds of its own destruction, if you consider it this way. What does it mean to gain all you can? Well, that's emphasis on industry, to strive, to strain, to labor, to work hard, summed up in the word industry. What is meant by saving all you can? Well, frugality, cut off needless expense, cut off all sorts of self-indulgence. Okay? This is what the Christian faith produces, industry and frugality in terms of serious Christian discipleship. And so if those first two maxims that Wesley posits in the sermon are not met by the third, that is, give all you can, or what we might call generosity, then Christianity will be undermined, Methodism will be undermined. And so this is what Wesley is trying to underscore with his ethics here. Wesley took this matter very seriously. If we don't complete the first two with the third, he uses very strong language here, that we are robbing the poor. We are robbing the poor. Not only that, but also we are doing damage to our own souls because we are probably engaging in various levels of idolatry. In other words, that we have now become preoccupied with wealth, with holding on to it, getting more, which is starting to look like greed, and that is displacing the love of God and neighbor. It's interesting how many sermons Wesley wrote on this topic. He feared that if the gaining and saving wasn't matched by giving, that the Methodists would end up with the form of religion, but they would lack the power thereof. Lacking the power thereof, they would lack the Holy Spirit. And so, once again, Wesley took this whole matter very seriously. I think when we're also considering John Wesley's economics, his economic theory, his economic ethics, we have to look at his ministry to the poor. And Wesley could perhaps teach us a few things today in our 21st century setting, because I think his ministry was very balanced. And that's why our collection of sermons includes that important one on visiting the sick. Because in that sermon, Wesley details his method, that when he was among the poor, he would not simply minister to their bodies, but also to their souls as well. The first thing he would do, of course, was to address the maintenance needs of the poor. Were they hungry? Did they have a place to stay that evening? Did they have sufficient clothing? All of these concerns. But after that, Wesley says, the minister or those who are serving should come up higher. That's his own language. He's making a value judgment here. Having ministered to their bodies, now minister to their souls. And that is a ministry that only Christians can do. Only those who know the salvific graces of being justified, born, washed, renewed. This is a special kind of ministry and a very important ministry. And so in a real sense, when Wesley is considering the maintenance needs of the poor and their spiritual needs as well, he's showing very clearly that ministry is more than social work, that it is bringing the glad tidings of salvation to the poor as well. Now, I think it's helpful to make a distinction between chronological priority and valuational priority. In other words, the very first things we do when we minister to the poor is to address their maintenance needs. The maintenance needs, what they shall eat, what they shall drink, have chronological priority, meaning they're the very first things that we do. But in Wesley's estimation, and you'll see this in the sermon on visiting the sick, such needs do not have valuational priority, meaning they're not the most important things of all. They're the first things we do, but they're not the most important things of all. That we minister also to the souls of the poor, bring the good news of the gospel, bring the fragrance of the graces of Jesus Christ to this community as well, whereby the poor are transformed, and we are transformed as well in a circle of ministry and in a circle of love.